This industry is tough, okay? Like, I'm not sugarcoating it. Kind of crazy to say this, but I learned more being on background sets than I have in my 4 years of theater school. Who in the forkin world did you just send me?
1, 2, 3, funk it.
Hi, honeys! Oh my gosh! How are we doing? What's going on? My name is Anastasia, also known as your Face Social Media Girl. For those who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm an actor based here in Toronto. I do both principal and background acting, and I post my videos every Friday. Before we get started, all you honeys that are watching this video right now, yes, all of you, go hit that subscribe button, okay? Yeah, go hit it, right? Click, perfect. And of course, hit the notification bell so you know every single time that I post, which is on Fridays, by the way. This is gonna be a guide to get into principal acting if you are a beginner actor and you have no idea what the heck you're doing. I was an actor a few years ago, and quite frankly, I wish a video like this existed when I was an actor, because it would just really be helpful to have someone really kind of give you the real honest truth, because I felt like a lot of YouTubers who are already developed actors don't really get nitty gritty about what actually happens behind the scenes, like how hard it is to get in there. And not that I'm gonna be trying to I'm not trying to discourage you or anything. I just need you to realize this industry is tough, okay? Like, I'm not sugarcoating it. You're probably gonna be auditioning 300 times before you actually book your first role, or maybe you will audition only once and you'll book it. It's like a lottery ticket. So I just want you kind of all to, know that before we get into it. I know people who have been doing acting classes for 5 years and chose to do acting classes for 5 years before they actually decided, I'm ready to move into getting an agent. I know people who were doing classes and trying to get an agent at the same time. So it's totally completely what you think and what you feel you are ready as an actor to be doing. Before you start doing any sort of class, agents, any of that sort of shebang in this industry, the first thing you always want to do is do your research. Primarily the research is questions. I have a few questions that I'm going to ask you, and I want you to answer them and comment them below, because I'd love to hear your answers. Question number 1 is, why do you want to be an actor? What made you want to get in this industry? What made you want to start becoming an actor or having interest in it? Was it a movie, a scene, a famous actor, a fellow friend? Maybe it's a family member. What exactly made you want to get into this industry? Question number 2, what are your acting goals? What goals do you have, long-term or short-term or both, whatever, as an actor? Is it you want to live in LA and do the whole LA lifestyle? Do you want to primarily become a Canadian actor? Are you looking to be unionized, or maybe you always want to stay non-union? Do you want to do indie films? Are you more into theater? What goals do you have, as an actor? Question 3 is, what kind of actor do you want to be? I say this because you can be two different kinds of actors. So you can do film or theater. And yes, as an actor, you can do both. I do both. But you're always gonna have a little bit one that's gonna kind of be more in front of the other. I say this because it's gonna help you make it easier for you to also find an agency. It's gonna, work with you into getting your auditions and stuff. Like, if you want to make theater your number 1, you're probably gonna look for more agencies that are geared towards theater auditions. Still have a little bit of film in there, but primarily theater. My next question is, how serious do you want to be of an actor? And I say this because I meet a lot of actors in this industry who want to get into this, and I think they get caught up in the whole Hollywood fame, money, the whole situation, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Not every actor is going to make it to that point. That's just the reality of it. I think a lot of them get really hung up about it, and then they don't make it there, or they're not getting there fast enough, and then they just really kind of fall off the bandwagon. So you're probably going to be auditioning 3 million times before you actually book your one audition. You're going to be putting in a lot of money into this before you actually start getting money out of this industry back into your pocket. So my last question is, how important is it for you to have a degree, master's in acting, or kind of just regular classes? Because you can do the whole going into a theater school route, which is what I did, and get a degree out of it, and then you could also do a master's in theater as well, or you could totally skip that and just go into classes, which is both equally good, but you're not getting any sort of certificate or degree or anything out of that. So it just depends on what's really important to you. Once you have those questions, sort of answered, comment them below, but On top of that, it's going to help you seeing sort of like the bigger picture of what you're looking for. But just having these questions in your head will kind of sort of help you guide you to what you are going for. So you're not just walking into a big open field and being like, where do I go now? You know what I mean? Huge benefit. Number one is learning and growing, and number two is the community and networking. In classes, you will meet so many people who might watch you up there do your scene and then say, oh my God, you know what? I'm writing a short film and I think that they would be perfect for my short film. They get your email, next thing you know, you're auditioning for the short film. Your teacher might see you and be like, listen, I have a student who's doing student film and you know what? I think you do great as that part. Then they connect you together. Sometimes in advanced classes as well, like once you get up there in that acting class that you're in, it's called industry night. So industry related people like agents, whatever, would come and watch you do your work and you might get something out of it then. Whether you do theater school or you do acting classes, it's extremely important for you to have some sort of base foundation of like the learning, ingredient. There is scene study class, there is on-camera class, there's audition technique class, there is voiceover, there's like breath work, like there is literally different types. So all of those are like really, really great. But when you're starting out, the only two that you really need if you're doing film acting would be an on-camera class and then a regular scene study class. Your scene study class would literally be like the same thing that you do in on camera, just the only difference in scene study, there's no camera, it's just you and your partner and you're free to do whatever you want in the room. And then in your on-camera class is going to be primarily you literally doing the scene as if you're auditioning, and that's really great practice for auditioning, for self-taping, and of course getting out the feel of like talking here while the camera's filming right here, which is really important if you're looking to do film acting. If you want to go to theater school, there's a lot of really good theater schools all around the world. It's going to be a 4-year program. It's going to be intense. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You're in school for 6 days of the week, Monday to Saturday, from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. Some theater schools will touch upon in 3rd year and 4th year on film acting, so just make sure you take a look at that if that's something you're interested in or not. But theater school, I guess the good thing out of it is that at the end, you do kind of have this foundation of saying that you went to a theater school and you went to like a good one. And some casting directors do look at that. So it could help you, it could not help you. It just really depends on what you're looking for. But when you're in this theater school, you do not really have a chance to audition. Like in ongoing acting classes that are not theater school based, you can go in and out of them as you please. You can audition whenever you want to, all that good stuff. In theater school, you don't really have that luxury of doing that. So once you're in the theater school, you're sort of kind of in for the 4 years unless you choose to leave or get kicked out. Part 3 is background acting and doing background like acting gigs and stuff like that. So the reason why I could say you don't have to do this if you don't want to is because not everyone, first of all, wants to be a background actor, which is completely personable to, what you want to do. The second thing is some people already have a full-time job. To be able to balance a full-time job, acting like principal acting regular plus background can get quite overwhelming. The reason why I wanted to put this in is because I'm not gonna lie, I was that actor who had like the biggest ego and was like, I don't do background acting, like not for me. And then when I actually said goodbye to my ego and came on set and did my first background acting gig, I felt like the biggest loser and like the biggest idiot in my entire life because I had no idea how any of this stuff worked. Like being on a film set, I was so lost. I had no idea what I was even doing or what half of these people are. Like I had no idea. So for me, background acting, kind of crazy to say this, but I learned more being on background sets than I have in my 4 years of theater school. I mean, not telling you not to go to theater school, but like maybe take your money and take it to an acting class instead. You get to learn how this whole entire industry works while being kind of like an invisible actor and nobody ever really like talks to you or says anything to you. 2, you get paid for it. And 3, it's just fun. You get to network with other people on background. So you might meet somebody who can help you with something or yada, yada, this and this. There's also stories where a background actor can get upgraded, which is really great. And then on top of that, they can kind of like write your character into something. It has happened. You can book continuity and then you're on a show for like 3 months straight. So it's a great paycheck coming in. I think it's also important to do it if you're not sure if you really want to be an actor, but you're like, I wonder how this works. Then do background because you can come in, check it out and see how the film acting world works. And then you're like, oh, you know what? Not for me, not my style. And then you don't even have to like waste your 5 years of your life doing all this class headshots and yada yada because you just did it on background acting. Headshots, whoop whoop. I actually love getting headshots. It's one of my favorite things to do, to be honest. It can be a little bit of a nerve-wracking situation if you don't know what you're doing, but headshots is something that you also do definitely need to get. Headshots is not something you need to get right away. Do the research, do the acting classes, get used to the groove of what acting is and how it works. If you want, do the background acting. You don't need headshots for that. If you watch any of my background videos, you literally just need regular selfies. If you want to do principal acting though, that is very different. You do need professional headshots. They need to be, the whole entire point of headshots is you need to be able to tell a story through this headshot. There is no right and wrong in terms of choosing a headshot photographer. You're gonna do the research on that because there are headshot photographers, oh my gosh, that shoot with more of a cooler like color tone thing and then some with more warmer side. It's just really gonna depend on you, on your complexion, on your skin color, also just kind of like what you vibe with. I remember my first headshots I ever got done, I went with more of a headshot photographer that had like a cooler side to things, which was great. I looked amazing, but the cooler tones made me look older. And because I have bangs and at the time I was like 18, I could play someone who was 15 years old. And then in photos, I look like I was almost like 29, 30. And that really didn't help me whatsoever. For the headshots, just kind of take a look at the website of what they, what they work with, what they vibe with, the people who are, you can look at their headshots they have done of other people, and then you can kind of just go with it. You don't have to pay $1 million for headshots when you start off because it's your first set. You're gonna be getting them, like they say you should get them every 1.5 to 2 years. I think the most I've ever spent on headshots was with like makeup and the editing and everything was like $800. It just depends. There are headshot photographers that will literally take $2,000 and they, no offense, do the worst job ever. Really look at what kind of color tone do you wanna go with? Will this match with you? And that's it. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna be self-submitting yourself. Self-submitting is really important because A, it gives you an opportunity to kind of see how auditioning process works. B, once you get, asked to go to an audition, once you self-submit yourself, you're gonna get used to what's it like to audition just in general. On top of that, you're building your demo if you book the work, and then you're also building your resume, which is super important. You just wanna like be your best kind of thing. So in my opinion, I would say don't rush into get the agent first. And I say this because you are your own brand. You are your own business, okay? So you wanna make sure that you are confident and you know what you're doing and you know what's up. So then when you walk into the office of your agency or agent that you wanna be signed with, you can confidently say, I know how to audition, I know what I'm doing, I'm not gonna disappoint, like sign with me because I'm literally gonna make you a very proud agent. And this may be a huge world, but it is very small because people talk and people know people. And it's insane how many times I would go to an audition or a short film or a background gig or an acting class or headshot photographer, whatever, and they somehow know somebody that you know. And it is crazy how much word can spread around about someone. People can be really nasty in this industry. There are times where if you bombed an audition, that casting director may call your agent and be like, who in the forkin world did you just send me? And that agent's not gonna like that because it's just gonna come back to you. It's just not a good idea. Not trying to discourage you or anything, but I just really highly recommend for you to be doing the self-submission first so you can get used to what's it like. And then you also have stuff to show on your demo, which is important because then the agent can actually see your work and actually be like, okay, great, I know what you can and cannot do, and this is awesome. This is something we can start off with and work with, and then we can go from there. This stuff can go in many different ways. You may apply for agencies and you may not get a response from them, or you may get a no from all of them, or maybe you're gonna get a yes from all of them. Do not be discouraged if they're negative responses or they're no responses. It just means that maybe the time that you applied was not a time to be applying. Maybe at that time, they didn't have enough room to put you on their roster. When searching for an agent, you're gonna wanna go on IMDb, type in the agency or the agent that you're interested in the city that you're either close residing to or residing in, and you're gonna be able to see who is on their roster. If they have too many people that look like you, I would say don't apply, because most likely you're going to either get no response or they're just going to say, I'm so sorry, but I'm not expanding in your category at the moment. And so that doesn't really help you at the end of the day. Try not to apply to like all 55 agencies that are in your city. Try to choose like, let's say 10 at a time. I'd even say 5 at a time. And you're gonna write a cover letter, you're gonna send your demo and your resume and your headshots, and you're gonna choose like your top 2 to 3 headshots that you absolutely like feel like those are gonna be your like center ones you're always gonna go with. Most importantly about agencies, honey, is don't rush it. If you are not ready, if you do not feel confident, if you feel like you need a little bit more time, like just getting into the groove of all of this whole stuff, that's fine. Take your time, because you want to make sure that you're getting signed with a good agent, with a good agency, and the right one, and that your agency is going to work with you. You need to remember this. Your agent, honeys, I'm going to say this loud and clear, works for you. Your agent is a partnership, okay? Do not ever sign with an agent that makes you feel small or little or just like, I don't know, a tiny little crumb. Like, they're not your boss. You do 80% of the work by learning the lines, going to the audition, doing the audition, and then doing the actual work once you get booked. Just remember that that agent does not validate you. You validate yourself. Your acting skills and your acting ability, you validate all of that on your own. Once you find an agent or an agency, from there on, you're gonna start auditioning, and you most likely will be signing a contract. It depends. Some of them make you sign 6 months, 1 year, some do 2 years, but always make sure you read the contract when you get the contract. Well, my little honeys and my fellow new actors, we are coming towards the end of the video. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. Before I finish up, I just want to say a few things. Your journey is always going to be very different from the 20 other people that you know that are also doing acting. Comment your questions below. I'm more than happy to answer them. You can also follow me on Instagram at Anastasia_Pioro. You can also DM me there if you feel more comfortable doing that. And of course, honeys, let me know what video you want to do next. I'm going to see you all very soon, next Friday. Okay. Love you. Bye, honey.